Greetings goers of YouTube, just call me Dr. Storm. Well, it's the month of October, which means it's officially Halloween time. The best time of the year to desecrate fruits, get diabetes, watch one of the least respected genres of film, and cosplay outside of conventions. Oh, well, where's your costume, dog? You're supposed to wear costumes for Halloween. Yeah, I know, and I am dressed for the occasion. The character I use as my avatar is a witch. Witches are Halloween themed, even if they're pink and purple and have a hat that looks more like a jester's. Checkmate and Magic Kazam. Well anyway, since it's spooky month, it only makes sense to watch a spooky video. And luckily, I've just the video to cover. That's right folks, we're going to be paying a visit to our old Super Origami friends in a video uploaded last Halloween to Dogs Eating Dog 6's own YouTube channel. I know he's called Aster of Aether now, but he was still DED6 back then, so I'm just going to call him DED6 for this video. Also, I and everyone else are still getting used to the name Aster of Aether. The video we'll be watching today is titled Top 10 Scariest Villains That Are Pure Nightmare Fuel, and seeing how this list was put together by a bunch of adults who mainly play Super Mario games, I just know we're going to see only the most hair-raising, spine-tingling, soul-shattering villains that would make any man or creature run for the Bianco Hills! So let's start the video, shall we?
Warning, the following contains footage and characters that may scare a younger audience and/or sensitive viewers. Another thing to note is that all characters, footage, and music used belong to their respective owners. I own nothing. Enjoy this video.
You know, DD6's voice filters actually sound pretty good when he's not screaming so loud that he overtakes them.
No one likes you, you greedy scammer! This guy has over 500 videos, and he only cares about quantity more than he does quality!
Good effort in referencing Slenderman to try and make this screen scary, but the only people who are going to find this fair use clause threatening are corporations. Then again, YouTube's copyright system is heavily skewed in their favor anyway, so I guess I don't really have that much to actually fear. Yeah, eat a bag of dicks, Sony. I fucking defended your movie against that tacky dipshit in my last video. You guys don't actually find the Claw Train from Thomas scary, do you? Please tell me he's not going to be on this list. Why are you using the robot chicken skit where Mario is in GTA for your Halloween intro? That's not scary, it's funny. Though maybe it would make sense for mascot platform man children like you to find your gaming idol eating lead like that absolutely horrifying. Which costumes are pretty cliche? Yeah, I know rich coming from me, but damn DD6, your dynamite bitch looking hella fine tonight. Oh, speaking of which, you're probably wondering where the Amazon is tonight. Yeah, she kind of broke her jack-o'-lantern after using it to do thigh presses, so to make up for it, she's having a friend help her serve as the replacement. Spending time with her right after this video is going to be pretty awkward.
Happy Halloween everyone, Super DED6 Galaxy here again, and about time too. Before we start, this is going to be a group project with a total of 4 other people. Chad Peterson, the Doge Queen, Jurassic vs 64, and TamatoaGamingDa.
Aw, no Jason Gomez. At least Tamato and Jurassic vs are so good for a laugh. Wow, TamatoaGamingDa handing candy out to children. Yet another moment that hasn't aged well whatsoever. Also, yes, the origami person avatar he has is worse than the crab one, even if that one's a bit too close to Schaeferless Productions.
It's time! DD6 is waiting for me at its destination!
Hello!
Michael, you'll be in charge of passing the candy to trick-or-treaters, got that? The happy kids wanting candy from the neighborhood is part of a Halloween tradition, you know. I'll be back in a while.
Nice.
Thank God he's away from the kids. Dodge the bullet, dodge the bullet.
Hey, what is up guys? TamatoaGamingDa here in this collaboration. Thanks for inviting me here, DED6. I'm excited to see what event we will be doing today since it's Halloween. By the way, did you invite anybody else besides me?
Ah yes, Jurassic, Chad, and the Doge Queen have already received their invitations to participate in what today's video is. And speaking of those three, they're on their way.
What's up everyone, I'm Chad Pearson and I'm here to discuss something special today on this spooky day. By the way, our Halloween costumes are a Halloween only thing.
Well, I guess it wouldn't be an SOK group rant if there wasn't someone with a shitty mic who was hard to hear. Also, why is Chad Peterson just a PNG of Ghostface? Like, he has a channel avatar, he couldn't have just scribbled over him in Microsoft Paint or something?
Hey everybody, I'm here. For the ones out there who don't know me, I'm the Doge Queen. This is actually my first time in a countdown video on Dogs Eating DED6's channel. I'm excited to be here with the rest of you guys.
Oh shit, guess we get two people hard to hear this video. So apparently Doge Queen was one of the people that TamatoaGamingDa groomed, which does definitely make this video a lot more awkward, and I sincerely hope she's doing much better these days, especially with Tamatoa being gone from the internet now. Or at least from YouTube. However, with all that being said, I'm still going to make jokes about her like how I am with all the other users in this video. Nothing personal, those are just the rules here on the Dr. Storm YouTube channel.
Hey guys, and happy Halloween! Jurassic Verse 64 has arrived for collaboration. I greatly appreciate the invite.
Just all the fucking dinosaur roars, only for the most innocent, half-excited voice to come out of this T-Rex. Honestly, Jurassic Verse is a pretty underrated SOK member. He somehow manages to toe the line between being one of the more normal members of the group, while still having his hilarious freak out some power with the more out-there members.
Do you know how many people were disturbed by the scene? I'm sure you do, because you seem to be a free company of some Venice artists who put honor shrinking from a vicious ass. I wish you would just scrap because of how not safe for work it is. You all fucking soulless bitches!
So, how are you guys doing in this spooktacular year?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited to delve into this topic, especially given what today is.
I'm also excited to see what we'll be doing for this spooktacular occasion.
I'm doing great, and I'm ready to discuss the topic of today's video.
What is today's topic? I'm excited to see what we are talking about.
Well, since it's October and Halloween is coming, today's topic is characters that are nightmare fuel.
Why is Jurassic Verse introducing the topic when this is DED6's channel? I thought DED6 was hosting this whole get-together.
Or, to be more specific, we are talking about the villains in media, whether they be from movies, shows, or games. Now, the only real rule is that they have to be actual villains. No villain protagonists like Patrick Bateman or Light Yagami, and also no villains from fan media. They have to be official villains from official media.
I mean, I get the official villains rule, but why aren't villain protagonists allowed? Wouldn't they still be villains or be evil by definition and have the potential to still be scary? What about cases like Venom where he's the protagonist in his own stories but is still a villain for Spider-Man? Do we just not count the feats and threats he displays in his own stories then?
With that said, let us discuss the top 10 villains that are pure nightmare fuel. To start things off, the first villain you're about to see is only scary on the inside, not on the outside.
But Darth Vader is still intimidating both in-universe and to the audience.
Toy Story 3 is easily the most intense installment of the Toy Story franchise by far.
You know, I really don't know what's more confusing. The fact that you showed the random clip of Darth Vader in Rogue One when it had nothing to do with the first entry on this list, or the fact that this top 10 list about nightmare fuel villains is starting with fucking Toy Story 3.
And most of these horrors are caused by a maniacal and crazed stuffed bear. And trust me, Lotso Hugging Bear is one of the worst teddy bears you'll ever meet.
Lotso Huggin' Bear. A nightmare fuel villain. Is this a Halloween video or an April Fool's one? Also, I just love how the monkey in the surveillance room looks creepier than Lotso, and they show a bunch of clips of the monkey to make it look like he's the number 10 spot, but then they just cut to the stupid purple teddy bear as the actual scary villain.
Lotso may seem like an unorthodox choice, but hear us out.
Jesus, you look petrified talking about this guy. Are you just getting stage fright, or is he really that scary and there's something I'm not seeing here?
What makes him unsettling is not his appearance, but his personality. He may act plush and cuddly on the outside, but on the inside, he's rotten to the core, and that's what makes him scary. He's akin to several horror villains like Chucky and Annabelle in this regard, combined with his backstory of abandonment. Turning him into a monster is actually a bit realistic in comparison to some of the other villains, and this realism makes him all the more terrifying.
I mean, you do have a point with his appearance helping to mask his true personality. However, this list is about villains that are pure nightmare fuel. Lotso's not a nightmare from hell, he's just a huge manipulative asshole. And their threat level typically falls to 0 once people can see through their tactics.
And I have more things to say about Lotso. His actions went from turning Sunnyside Daycare into a prison by keeping all the other toys in Sunnyside under his rule, ensure that they will never escape, and prove to them that children don't want them anymore, to escorting Woody's friends to the Caterpillar Room, which is revealed to be a torture chamber, to reprogramming Buzz into a minion by manipulating him into thinking Andy's toys are helpers of Emperor Zurg, to showing no care for his minions as well as abusing Big Baby both physically and mentally in front of everyone else, including his own minions, whom Lotso calls dummies and ungrateful.
Funny how you're hyping Lotso up like this, and yet you cut away from the scene before Big Baby picks his ass up and literally throws him in the trash for all his bullshit. I know he does manage to pull Woody in with him shortly after, which leads to the climax of the movie, but that was more of Lotso desperately taking advantage of an opportunity and getting the jump on Woody when he was helping another toy get unstuck. Also, rewatching this clip years later, I really don't think Lotso should have been able to reach the top of the dumpster with how little trash was in it. Again, I don't deny Lotso is a good antagonist or that people like him could certainly exist in real life, but all this doesn't really make Lotso himself scary, and it especially doesn't make him nightmare fuel. At the end of the day, there's not much Lotso can do that other toys can't in terms of feats or abilities, and he was always able to easily be thrust out of power faster than he was able to attain it. Not to mention that if I, a normal human being, saw Lotso Huggin' Bear running up to fuck me up, I'd just kick his ass into a wall and stop him till his stitches burst and his stuffing flew out.
And the most villainous act he ever did is leaving Andy's toys to die in the incinerator, ensuring that they can never return to their owner, despite the fact that Woody and Buzz saved his life.
Just push it! Push it! Push it! Where's your kid now, Sheriff? You're an irredeemable monster!
I mean, yeah, he's not scary, he's just a dick.
But the fact that he is so plush and huggable on the outside is why he's only number 10.
But I thought his appearance juxtaposing his true nature was what makes him scary. Now it's a detriment for him here? We're only on number 10, and I'm already feeling like we need to define the metrics and guidelines for this list.
Ridley's scariest attribute is not his imposing design, but rather his psychotic personality.
I mean, I guess Ridley can be scary, and I know for a fact that I wouldn't want to encounter him IRL, but nowadays I think he has more of a badass aura than a scary one.
Seriously, this guy is downright malicious in every sense of the word. He'd kill a 3-year-old for lulz, and he psychologically tormented Samus by mocking her about the deaths of her parents.
Okay, dude, can you, like, not rub sandpaper together while you're recording? It's already hard enough to hear you without that shit going on.
Seriously, this guy will give someone PTSD for fun. And overall, Ridley is just the embodiment of a sadist with evil for the sake of it. Plus, some of the build-up to his encounters is nerve-wracking at times.
Ah yes, a very clear boss room with a sprite spawning on screen. How nerve-wracking.
The only reason he's not any higher is because he does have a badass factor to him.
Oh, okay, good, so you do acknowledge that he's more of a badass then. I mean, the reasons he gave for Ridley being a threat in-universe were valid, but I still don't think most fans find him scary to the point where they shit themselves. They were too busy dreaming about him being in Smash Bros. For years to actually have nightmares about him.
Samus, it's time! Oh! Oh my fucking god! Oh my fucking god!
Dementio may be silly on the outside, but he's really creepy on the inside from his sadistic sense of humor.
Oh boy, another villain from a company that produces media meant to be consumed by kids. You guys have actually seen horror movies and played horror games, right? And no, Luigi's Mansion doesn't count.
To his desire to destroy all worlds and create new ones in his image.
A lot of villains want to do that though, so that's not really particularly scary.
And once he assumes his super form, he turns into nightmare fuel. Seriously, it's an unsettling mashup form of Dementio and Luigi.
No, it's not unsettling, it just looks really stupid.
Would you imagine seeing something like this in a modern Mario game where some enemy that's pure evil or pure nightmare fuel and has a mashup fusion of itself and the character it's being fused with? That would be absolutely freakishly horrifying. The only thing that would make it scarier is if Super Dementio had claws and sharp teeth.
Wow, the shitty fan art you didn't properly credit somehow made Super Dementio look less scary than he already was. Very impressive of you.
The only reason he's number 8 is because his fight is a joke, and he has funny moments that detract from his fear factor even if they don't detract from his villainy.
So he's a jester-like villain in a Mario game who also has a lot of funny moments and whose boss fight is lame and doesn't pose much of a challenge? Gee, well it's almost like he's just not fucking scary and shouldn't be on this list then.
Beware, for he is the Bat King of Nightmares! Yep, and Tasma is scarier than Dementio.
I've only ever played Bowser's Inside Story, but now that I get a better look at Phantasma here, no. He is somehow not scarier than Dementio, and his design is a complete fucking mess.
While he's not as powerful or evil as Dementio,
Okay, so you're already not justifying his placement on this list, very cool.
he makes up for it with his scarier design,
Except he's not scary.
his vampiric atmosphere,
Being a vampire is not automatically scary.
and his boss fight is hair-raising.
That is not an actual critique of his boss fight and tells me absolutely nothing about what makes it scary.
Especially when you get sent to Phantasma's nightmare.
Oh wow, his nightmare is pink. How horrifying. Truly no gay food items are safe here.
I am not gay! Why would boys fall in love with boys in that fucking movie? I am this close to calling Phantasma to send this movie into Phantasma's nightmare.
Back to his design.
Yes, his design which sucks ass.
Like King Ollie said in episode 3 of the King Ollie Show, yes, that's episode 3. He's a combination of Black Hat and Margis, but there is one other inspiration Ollie forgot. He was also inspired by none other than Count Dracula himself, especially with his bat-themed design and his speech pattern.
So wait, you, or King Ollie I guess, looked at this thing and thought of a character from a Mexican Cartoon Network show and a character from Chrono Trigger, and yet somehow didn't think this bat-themed vampire-like character was based off of one of the most iconic monsters of all time to the point where even people who haven't read the original story have heard his name?
Are you retarded?
Overall, Phantasma is not only a great villain, but he's a great horror-themed villain.
You know, it's pretty ironic that this character seems to be themed around the concept of nightmares, yet he isn't nightmare fuel whatsoever. Like, I hate to break it to you, DED6, but most horror-themed levels, enemies, and games meant for kids aren't actually scary to anybody above the age of 10. They just have a spooky aesthetic filled with horror cliches as a theme to differentiate them from the others that aren't horror-themed. Please, for the love of fuck, play an actual horror game. I assure you they are not hard to find.
Mephiles the Dark is the most unnerving Sonic villain by far.
Okay, come on now, where's the actual number 6 Nightmare Fuel villain?
From his eyes to the way he moves, his theme, his voice acting, and overall, Mephiles was made to be creepy.
god, he's actually fucking serious. He actually thinks the villain from the worst Sonic game ever made, who's just a mouthless Shadow the Hedgehog with an evil voice and his dumb try-hard theme being overused every time he appears, isn't the funniest fucking thing ever.
I owe much to you, Shadow. Oh yes. What you gave to me, I now return to you. A one-way ticket to oblivion. Just as a flower comes from a seed, or a chicken comes from an egg, everything has an origin. You need to find the being originally responsible for this catastrophe.
Is that really the answer to our problem? Tell me, do you know who it is?
To fix this present timeline, you need to change the past.
But that's impossible!
With my help, you can. Because I have the power to travel through time.
And that's just on the outside. On the inside, he's unsettling.
So if he's ugly both inside and out, why even mention both sides explicitly? Just say this is what he looks like, these are his powers, and this is what his personality is.
From his mysterious ways of accomplishing his goals, to his sadistic streak, and overall, Mephiles is not only pure evil, but he is terrifying.
You say this while playing the funniest death scene in any video game ever. See, even Mephiles is laughing at himself. He knows you calling him scary as fucking stupid.
This version of Joker may be funny sometimes, but his actions are depraved.
The Joker? Really? I thought the Joker was supposed to be funny before he was scary. I'm not saying the Joker can't be disturbing or scary, obviously versions exist that are, but do you really expect these mascot platformer man-children to have delved into comic books and comic-adjacent media to have seen the absolute darkest of the character? They probably only chose the Batman the Animated Series Joker because that's the one they've seen the most of growing up.
From brainwashing a group of people as revenge for being rejected on a comedy show, to physically and psychologically torturing a literal child to the point of brainwashing them into a mini-me version of Joker.
I mean, that is really fucked up, but I'd say the result of the brainwashing is scarier than the Joker himself. Not to mention the brainwashing victim in this case was a child, so his victim wasn't exactly the toughest one to battle against that.
On top of that, everything he does is for his own sadistic kicks. Plus, Mark Hamill's laugh when he plays Joker is terrifying.
I agree Mark Hamill does a good job voicing the Joker, but his laugh, while still memorable, isn't really nightmare fuel or traumatizing for me. I haven't seen much of Batman the Animated Series, so maybe there are some Joker moments that scared the bejesus out of kids. But again, I think that other versions of the Joker are scarier to more people, and even then, I don't think I'd put any of them on this list, especially with all the "We Live in a Society" memes in recent years. I will say, however, that it is indeed quite horrifying how bad the new Joker movie was.
Overall, this is the scariest depiction of Joker due to his depravity, Mark Hamill's performance, and just how far he's willing to go. Although there are a few versions that do come close. We just won't mention them because otherwise the honorable mentions would be way too long. And it's long enough as is, so leave us alone on that.
Okay, that was kind of a weird thing to say about the honorable mentions at the number 5 spots.
If you guys played Earthbound, that is such a classic game!
Oh, so number 4 is Gigas then? You know what, I'll give you that one. Good job, guys, you finally put a villain on the list that's actually scary. Granted, you did it more than halfway through and it's yet another villain from a game meant for kids, but hey, at least you didn't put fucking Swiper the Fox on here or something else as stupid as Lotso.
Even though it sold very poorly in America back then, it still remains one of the greatest games of all time! Whether it was on your emulators, Wii U Virtual Console, Switch Online, or even on the Super Nintendo Classic, then chances are you are in for the experience of a lifetime.
I don't have any commentary or rebuttal here, I just find Jurassic Verse talking about Earthbound amusing.
You would think that having a kid having psychic powers like Ness going on an adventure with 3 friends would be all fun and cheery, right? Right? Well, to answer that, yes and no.
I don't know why, but just hearing Jurassic Verse's voice coming out of this T-Rex and seeing it suddenly snap to face the viewer just cracks me up.
Because once you get to the end game in the Cave of the Past, things start to get really disturbing and horrifying from here. And it all sounds like something out of a nightmare. Once you reach the final battle with Pokey, or rather Porky, and Gygus, Porky turns off the devil's machine, and you are treated to possibly the scariest boss in gaming history.
Okay, let's not get too carried away there, champ.
Hailing from Earthbound beginnings and Earthbound, Gygus is a nightmarish alien raised in infancy by a woman and her husband, but ends up betraying them and attempts to invade Earth. But he was stopped by Ninten. When he returns in Earthbound, that is where the nightmare scale is really cranked up to 11. You are battling him in a chaotic dimension full of darkness, and all his power is unleashed since he is no longer in control of his own actions and has become a complete threat to even the universe itself. So basically, he completely lost his mind.
I think you mean lost his insanity.
Take it down! Or I'll lose my sanity, damn it!
As the battle goes on, the battle only gets more and more disturbing as Paula sends prayers, which causes Gygus to become unstable. And with each prayer and phase, the music also gets more scary until you, the one with the controller in your hands, sends one more prayer to defeat Gygus once and for all. So overall, Gygus is the scariest boss in the Nintendo category.
Alright, so that means no other Nintendo villains are going to be on this list then, right? Right?
And you are left completely traumatized, and you will be haunted by him in your nightmares, even to this day when you first encounter him. Just thinking about it gives me the creeps, honestly.
Okay, look, Gigas is pretty scary for the target demographic of this game, especially as a final boss. But again, calm down, son. It's just a background texture.
Anyway, get ready for the final 3, and let's move on before I get nightmares from him myself!
Okay, for real though, with Tamatoa gone, can Super Origami Universe let Jurassic Verse 64 have his own solo rants? I genuinely feel like he could carry one all by himself. Oh, for fuck's sake.
This guy is an example of something that looks nice on the outside, but is rotten on the inside.
You already use this exact same logic to gas up Lotso. This whole inside-outside method of examining villains in this video is starting to lose its effectiveness.
But once he assumes his Photoshop form, he becomes a complete nightmare. Look at this monstrosity. This thing looks like everything but the kitchen sink melded together to form an eldritch horror.
I will admit that Photoshop Flowey's design is pretty off-putting for a game where everything had been basic sprites up until that point. But I still don't think I'm going to give you Flowey being nightmare fuel. He's pretty powerless and non-existent for a majority of the game, and even in Photoshop form, his fight's not that hard with all the checkpoints you're given. Not to mention, I think the Photoshop form is kind of try-hard at being scary compared to something like Gigas.
What makes him more horrifying than Gigas is...
What the fuck was up with the audio there?
Because unlike Gigas, who has lost his mind...
Why the fuck did it do that again? Did you pronounce Gigas, Gygas, or whatever the fuck's name wrong or something, and this is your effort to try and fix it in post?
Flowey is a sadist who enjoys tearing people apart for the fun of it, and he's overall demented. The only reason he's not number one is because he does have sympathetic qualities.
I personally feel like Flowey being easier to sympathize with than Gigas would make him less scary than Gigas, but whatever, it's your list, I guess. Oh god fucking damn it. See, a bunch of users did lie to me about Gigas being the scariest villain in the Nintendo library then. I will give you Majora actually being scary though. Majora's Mask as a whole is pretty damn creepy for a Zelda game, let alone a Nintendo one.
While the others on the list so far have something mitigating, whether it be sympathy and evil is cool factor, or they're funny.
Yes, I agree, Tamato. Amphalos is pretty fucking funny.
Majora has none of that, and it is pure nightmare fuel.
From the shape of the moon that it wants to drop on the world to how it views everything as a game. Now, who is Majora? Let me explain. Majora is an evil being inhabiting the tribal mask, which was eventually collected by the happy mask salesman. After being stolen by Skullkid, Majora, being a pure evil villain it is, possesses him and uses him as a pawn, seeking to crash the moon into the land of Termina and destroy the world as part of its own sadistic game. When you fight Majora, it has three forms. The first form being the mask itself, the second being its incarnation, and the third and final one being its wrath. All of the forms of Majora are freakishly horrifying in every level there is.
Oh, and do you want to hear what his laugh sounds like? Take a listen, but I hope you don't piss your pants hearing this.
I mean, that is pretty scary, but that's not from the actual game. And it doesn't really sound close to the actual laugh from the game. Also, you didn't properly credit that sound clip either.
Okay, this sound effect might have been voice acted and probably wasn't even canon, but you cannot deny the fact that this is something you would hear from your nightmares.
Oh, so you acknowledge that the laugh clip you just used isn't canon then? Then aren't you kind of just breaking the official villains only rule by using unofficial fan material to explain why official material is creepy? God, even in the fun Halloween top 10 list, you guys are just straight up hypocrites.
Overall, Majora is not only irredeemably evil, but it is purely played for horror. But we have one left, and the next round will come up after a long list of honorable mentions.
Well, number one had better not be some shit like Bowser, Ganondorf, or Dr. Robotnik's Pingus. Also, wait, what do you mean long list of honorable mentions? The honorable mentions as a whole typically aren't meant to be any longer than a single entry on a top 10 list.
I'm gonna warn you that if you want to fast forward to number 1, then I would highly recommend skipping to this timestamp on screen right now. This will be a long list of honorable mentions coming up in the next segment.
Why are you giving a timestamp to jump to number 1 with? How long are the honorable mentions, DED6? 15 minutes? The honorable mentions are nearly 15 minutes long? That's over 1/3 of the entire video! And every villain you guys are about to name in this list is somehow less scary than Lotso fucking Huggenbear? Okay, look guys, so this is gonna be a long fucking list of honorable mentions, and I can't possibly comment on every single one, so just like with the Punishment compilation and the Surf's Up 2 coverage, I'm gonna have to select particular entries to comment on. Sit back, folks, because this may take a while.
So beware. Beware.
Ganondorf from the Zelda series. He's better than most of the villains here, but he's more badass than scary.
King Boo from the Luigi's Mansion series. His obsession with killing Luigi is demented.
Dead Hands from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Disembodied hands with a blood-soaked body.
Scarecrow from Batman Arkham Knight. Look at that face!
You know, I love how the honorable mentions begin with more Nintendo villains, only to be followed up with an iconic fear-based villain that's probably scarier than everything else that made it onto the actual list.
The Xenomorphs from the Alien franchise. From the chest bursting scene to the Queen herself, they forever remain among the scariest extraterrestrial monsters.
Ah yes, the Xenomorph, one of the most iconic horror monsters of all time that somehow isn't as scary as the fucking purple bear from Toy Story 3.
Pazuzu from The Exorcist.
It's Pazuzu, you dolt. I know this and I haven't even seen the fucking movie. But I have played SMT and Persona.
A demon who possessed Regan, from the spider walk to the green vomit and the head spin scene. This is perhaps one of the greatest horror movies of all time. The power of Christ compels you!
Yeah, one of the greatest horror movies of all time that you've totally seen and didn't have to look up to know what it was. No, but I guess an edgy smiling plant is just that much scarier than a possessed girl's head turning all the way around.
The other mother says Belldam from Coraline. She lures unsuspecting children to her world using a doll of themselves and eats up their lives.
Once again, another actual horror villain scarier than anything that made it onto the list.
Chernabog from Fantasia. He's literally Satan.
No, he is literally not. Stop watching the Nostalgia Critic. Though, in fairness, Doug did eventually correct himself on calling Chernabog the devil.
Bowletta from Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. When Cactuar's soul possesses Bowser, he undergoes a horrifying transformation as he becomes the real deal original female Bowser!
Hey, it's the crazy bitch who killed the Undertaker penguin in the Surf's Up 2 rant.
She likes making jokes about life and death, huh? Let's see them right. Death for your death!
Resident Demon from Donkey Kong 64. This guy is literally an undead crocodile ghost, and that speaks for itself.
In fairness, having to play Donkey Kong 64 in general sounds like a nightmare, let alone 100% it.
Jaws from the first Jaws movie. An all-time classic movie with a bloodthirsty man-eating shark that terrorizes the beach.
King Ramus is from Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Return the slab, or suffer my curse.
This show has many scary moments and creepy monsters, but Ramus's, he just takes the cake.
Yeah, Courage the Cowardly Dog in general is really iconic for fucking up my generation in its youth. So, how come none of these monsters were on the list then, but Mephiles the fucking Dark was? I can't even act pissed about this, his name is just too fucking stupid to say.
Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street. This dude kills kids in their own dreams.
Yes, a much better and more iconic nightmare-themed villain than this purple eyesore. Just saying, you didn't see Phantasma throwing hands at Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat?
All the enemies and bosses from Dark Escape 4D. This game makes the House of the Dead look like a kid's game!
I don't have commentary on this one, I just think Jurassic vs. Screaming is fucking hilarious.
Pennywise from Stephen King's It. Scariest clown since the Joker.
No, Pennywise is just straight up a scarier clown than the Joker. Yes, I am also counting the Tim Curry version.
SAX from Metroid Fusion, an X-parasite that mimicked Samus Aran and transforms into a terrifying beast.
Why the fuck didn't you put this on the list over Ridley? This looks way more scary than him.
The Regenerators from Resident Evil 4. Hence the name, they can regenerate destroyed body parts at an enhanced rate!
I highly doubt you even beaten or, hell, even booted up a Resident Evil game.
Scorpius Rex from Camp Cretaceous.
Oh, okay, we're just being dicks to Doge Queen for mispronouncing the word Cretaceous when DED6 said Pizzazu earlier and no one gave him a negative buzz to the editing for that. Also, they put a lot of Jurassic Park dinosaurs on this list, including a lot of other ones I didn't focus on. Most likely because Jurassic Verse is obviously biased towards that series where only one good movie that was worth the fuck was ever made.
Valak from the Conjuring and Nun movies.
Oh, we're not gonna rudely buzz Doge Queen again and shame her for not pronouncing Conjuring correctly? Like we only had to do it when she disrespected Jurassic vs. Sacred Cow?
Diesel 10 from Thomas and the Magic Railroad. This guy is a killer train.
Fucking course you babies find the Claw Train scary. Well, at least he didn't make it on the actual list, I guess. Lord knows we needed more dumb kitty entries.
The Shapeshifter from Gravity Falls. This monster, inspired by The Thing, gave Niall so many nightmares!
Oh no, not Niall. He's mine and everybody else's favorite SOK member. How horrible.
Oh, and by the way, Twitter is the worst social media site ever. They are toxic, they force you to hate on wholesome things and wholesome characters.
You need
and worst of all,
to shut
they always
the fuck
get political.
Pyramid Head from Silent Hill 2. Another well-known and iconic monster in the franchise. And he just screams nightmare fuel!
Yeah, he screams Nightmare Fuel, which is why you didn't put him on this Nightmare Fuel list and crammed him with hundreds of other villains in the honorable mentions.
And Death from Netflix Castlevania. This version is scarier than the game version due to how depraved he is. Plus, his design and scale helps as well.
Isn't that the version that talks like he was written by Visipop? It's kinda hard to take him seriously with that dialogue.
I'm going to eat your soul, shit it out, and use it to smother your fucking girlfriend to death.
Pussy! And that does it for the honorable mentions. But before we all get to the #1 scariest villain of all time, let us do a quick recap.
Number 10, Abusive Teddy Bear.
Number 9, Sadistic Space Pirate.
Number 8, Apocalyptic Jester.
Number 7, Vampiric Dark Lord. Number 6, Manipulative Nihilist.
Dude, I already think Mephiles is funny. You don't have to sell me any further.
Number 5, Sadistic Mastermind.
Number 4, Tragic Extraterrestrial.
Number 3, Omnicidal Maniac.
And number 2, Cataclysmic Evil Mask.
Yes, thank you for reminding us of all these shit choices you made for this list after going through actual horror villains and monsters that are much scarier and that you only found out about after Googling them.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it!
You should have seen this one coming.
Nah, Bill Cipher's a Tumblr sexy man. Even with all the power in the universe, that alone prevents him from being truly terrifying.
Bill Cipher is downright horrifying. He is pure nightmare fuel, especially when he's either angry or when he's in his monster form. Not to mention, he can mangle your face beyond recognition like he did to Preston Northwest.
From what I've seen of Bill, he can do some pretty freaky shit, but I don't really find Bill himself to be all that scary, especially when he makes a lot of jokes like other villains on this list.
Not to mention his laugh and his sadomasochism. Seriously, he makes fun of pain, including his own pain when he hits himself while in Dipper's body.
That's dark! I've seen sadists before, but this is on another level!
Hitting himself in the face is on another level?
His actions are also disturbing, from wanting to cause the apocalypse to literally saying,
I've got some children I need to make into corpses!
seriously, that's just dark, especially in the way he says it so casually.
I agree.
Honestly, that is a pretty chilling line, at least for a Disney show.
Plus, he's always so nonchalant about everything he does, when he isn't laughing his butt off as he committed his crimes.
Plus, he destroyed his own home dimension, so the fact he only cares about himself and will do anything for his own amusement really shows how evil he really is.
Now that I think about it, my own channel is just me laughing at other users for my own amusement. Does that make me Nightmare Fuel like Bill?
So in conclusion, Bill Cipher deserves the spot on this spooky list. He's not only pure evil in every sense of the term, but his personality, actions, and goals really show how nightmarish he is. And that is why he is pure nightmare fuel.
Yeah, but so long as he's in a Disney show, his nightmarishness is always going to have a limit. The minute you make a version of Bill Cipher that's in a show meant for adults, that villain's just going to blow Bill out of the water. Hell, I would consider a lot of villains less powerful than Bill to be more of nightmare fuel than him, even if Bill could fuck me up more and deal more collateral damage.
So what did you guys think of our list?
I thought it was fucking shit.
If you have your own list, leave it in the comments. Just don't disrespect anyone's opinions. If you have a different opinion, that's alright. Such things should be celebrated, not frowned upon.
Yeah, and it's my opinion that your opinions on Nightmare Fuel villains are fucking stupid.
With that said, are there any final words from the rest of you guys?
Not really, aside from looking forward to the next videos in this community. And I have many upcoming.
We hope to look forward to those. See you guys later. Not much from me either, but I really did enjoy doing this countdown with you. We should do more of these in the future. And with that, I have to get back home to my party now. See you all in the next video. I don't have anything else to say, so see you guys later. I'm gonna go trick-or-treating for some candy.
Before I head back, there's one thing I want to say. Please look forward to my Halloween special video on my channel. It will premiere this evening, so come on down and enjoy the fun. Now anyways, catch you all later, and see you later during my Halloween special. Happy Halloween, everyone!
Well, hey man, sounds cool. I think I'll head over to your channel right now and, wait, that's right.
With those things said, look forward to more lyric videos in the future, as well as several collaborations I will have with Chad Peterson, including a positive video on one of the best video game villains of all time, Ganondorf from the Zelda series. With all that said,
Remember, reality is an illusion, the universe is a hologram. Bye, Gold, bye!
Oh my god, look at these bunch of fucks together like this. You got fucking Lotso in the corner with his dumb smile, you got Mephiles being a stupid edgelord in the other corner, Gigas has been relegated to a background whose face is being almost entirely blocked off by Majora and Bill, and Flowey is just some fan art render instead of his official sprite for god knows what reason. God, this either looks like a 12-year-old's DeviantArt banner or another large group of users coming together to rant on Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 or some bullshit.
Let's just focus only on the food animals to make them look good and make everything the worst thing you can ever imagine, more than hearing that you have cancer.
So yeah, that was DED6 and Friends' top 10 scariest villains at our pure nightmare fuel list. And I don't know about you, but I think I'm gonna be sleeping quite soundly tonight. Only 2 of the villains on the list were actually scary, they only resorted to putting villains from kids media on, their metrics and rules were confusing and inconsistent, and they just stuffed all the actual horror villains they clearly don't give a shit about into an overly long honorable mentions list they didn't even bother cutting down for some reason, thus making it bloat the video's runtime with unnecessary filler. While the villains on this list may not have been very frightening, even as an outside observer, I can confidently say that the production on this video was more of a nightmare than anything they ultimately chose. Like or dislike the video depending what you thought of it, share your thoughts in the comments down below, subscribe if you'd like to see more of my content, and have a happy Halloween.